Welcome back. Our next session is about safety, and this session is more about showing you where to find the information that you need and some of the key principles of what we do. But within the gym's cleaning group, we want to make sure our franchisees, we have a safe environment for our franchisees, our customers and the public. So as a franchisee, you're responsible for providing obviously a safe working area for your employees as well. And we'll go through that in more detail shortly. But some of the things that we want to look at today is our WHS manual. Now this is available in our hub, which we're going to show you in our next session, where the hub is and how that works. But WHS manual, where you'll find all the information that you need, including your swims. So some of the information which is available in the manual is your swims. It stands for, just to let you know, that stands for Safe Work Method Statements. I had a franchisee call me once and said, it was actually one of the cleaning franchisees called me and said, one of my customers is asking me to go for a swim. I don't really understand what they're talking about. Well, they're actually asking for safe work method statements. Now, it's important, all those safe work method statements are available in the manual. And obviously, we've done all the hard work and we've created a lot of the common tasks. So for each service and each task that you have, such as dusting, vacuuming, polishing a car, or steam cleaning, you have a safe work method statement. But that varies from job to job, from case to case. So in some cases, you can do your own as well, and those forms are available in the WHS manual. There's obviously what we call MSDS, and again, some people refer to them by SDS. It's the same thing. It's material safety data sheets, and obviously for every product, it's the law to have the SDS for every product that you have in your vehicle, for every chemical that you have in your vehicle, regardless if you use it or not. So you get all the MSDSs, you get all the SDSs for the products that you get in your kit. That's all available in the WHS manual. But if you go and try a new product, you need to supply your own SDS. We always recommend it to have a printed copy of the SDSs available in your car. Don't just rely on the digital copy, but have an actual printed copy with a folder with all your SDSs. Now, these are all available in your in the WHS manual, and there's also something that's very important is we need to report any incidents. And now that applies to near misses as well, so it doesn't have to be an actual, it could be a near miss, or it could be a minor incident, it could be a major incident, but they need to be reported. And again, in the WHS manual, which is available in the hub, you actually have the form. It's literally one page which talks about, on how to report how the injury or the near miss happened, how the incident happened. So you need to send that to your franchisor. If you have any near misses, even if it's a little issue or if it's a minor incident, report it and send it to your franchisor. And the reason why we say send it through to your franchisor is sometimes what you think minor could lead up to something more serious later on. Or in some cases, there could be hundreds of those minor cases which are not being reported. It could be a reaction to a product, or it could be a reaction to a certain equipment. If it's not getting reported, we simply don't know at the head office. So we need to obviously find out. The more reports that we can get from you, the better. Please don't be embarrassed or don't be shy to send it to your franchisor. Now, we also have your employees, if you're planning to hire employees, it's very important that you go through the WHS manual with your employee as well. Go through this safe work method statements. It should be part of their induction training. Go through where they can find the STSs, where they can report injuries if they need to. The reason for that is, firstly, you're responsible for their safety, but according to WorkCover and a lot of the insurances, most of the accidents happen at the beginning of employment. So because your employees may not, what you think common sense may not be common sense for them, or they they may not know how to follow the procedures or the PPEs, which is obviously the next part. Make sure you use all the personal protective equipment, with the products that's there. So if you need to use goggles, if you need to use gloves, if you need to use masks or hearing protection when you have the vacuum or the machine on, make sure you use all the PPE. Make sure that all the PPE is available for your employers as well. So if you have employees or people working for you and contractors, obviously you're responsible for their safety as well. Now, we'll be attaching a document here where we show you the most common injuries within the cleaning industry. And as you can see from the graph, the most common injury is by manual lifting, which are caused to back and neck injuries. Pretty much almost equals to 50% of the injuries reported to work cover. So very important to get that, to follow the correct manual handling. Make sure you bend at the knees, and make sure if it's too heavy to lift for one person, make sure you ask for help. Which is also, the back injury is also caused, and neck injuries are also caused by repetitive cleaning actions, such as long hours of vacuuming, long hours of mopping. So if you have staff, always rotate. Don't get someone to vacuum all the time or mop all the time. You should be rotating. You should be taking regular breaks throughout your day as well. Another common injury is, this applies for long-term injury, is hearing protection and not using the hearing protection. Obviously, you have the vacuum on your back. Even though we go for one of the most quietest vacuums in the market, or some of the machinery, they'll get louder and louder as they get older. You need to make sure you have all the PPEs, use all the PPEs throughout your day. Now, if you have any questions about safety, obviously, the manual explains a lot of the items. It covers pretty much all the items, but you can always call myself or call your franchisor for any safety-related items. As I mentioned earlier, the most important part of your business is safety. Safety first, everything else will fall into place. But we need to make sure we create a safe environment for you, for your employees, for your customers, and for the public. And if the job is not safe to do so, you can simply walk away. We prefer for our franchisees, there could be a job that's not safe. If you're doing car detailing, for example, and the only way you can detail that car is on a busy road, we'll prefer for you to walk away, or look for a substitute, look for a different option. Where can you move the car to the driveway? Can you move it around the corner? So have a look at the other options. But if it's still not safe to do so, please, we prefer for you not to do that job if you can't do it safely. Now, for test and tag purposes, obviously you need to make sure all your electrical cables are test and tagged as well. In some of the regions we have franchisors, they can actually organise this at team meetings, and they'll organise a test and tag franchisee to come around and tag all the cables in that for the franchisees. So make sure you speak to a franchisor to organise that as well. So it's very important to get all your electrical test and tagged with your state government requirements. And depending on the services that you do, a common question is, how often should I get my test and tag? It does vary, for builder sites, for commercial sites, to domestic, it does vary. But for domestic, in most states, it's once a year. But if you're doing shopping centres, if you're doing building sites, it will be once a quarter. But obviously speak to your local test and tag franchisee, and they'll give you a better advice on that. Your first aid course, you'll need to obviously do your first aid course at your own time. Normally that session is available at Mooroolbark because you can't make it due to these reasons. You'll need to do your first aid training at your own time and if you simply search for first aid courses in your area, I'm sure you should be able to find plenty. For window cleaning franchisees, you need working at heights training as well. It's an additional course, and your franchisor will organise that as well. As part of your uniform kit, you also get your first aid kit as well. It's very important to check the items on the first aid I'll say, every 3 months, if not every 6 months at least, making sure you have all the inclusions on that list, because on the list, on the box, you'll actually have all the list of inclusions. And sometimes I see franchisees walk around with first aids and half the items are missing. So it really beats the purpose. You need to make sure you have a full first aid kit. And if you need to replace any of the items, you should replace them, because some items may have expiry dates as well. As I mentioned, think of every job, think of the safety of every job, and make sure you use the signage accordingly. If you're mopping a floor, and don't just think the sign will cover you. It all goes back to communication. A lot of the claims, a lot of the injuries that's been reported could have been avoided with the right form of communication. And what I mean by that is, if you're mopping a kitchen area, for example, at a domestic home, if there's a 5-year-old kid, they're not going to read the sign. They're not going to even see the sign. They're going to run straight through. So what I'll do is I'll go back to the parents and say, look, we'll be mopping. One of the last things we're doing is mopping the kitchen area. It's going to be really wet. It'll be slippery. Can you make sure the kids are out of this area? At least you've communicated that with your clients, and it'll actually make your job easier as well. And it's not just about mopping, it's about running cables through, it's about running hoses through for carpet and car detailing franchisees. You need to communicate that with your clients. A lot of the incidents could have been avoided with the right form of communication. Now, we talked about working at heights training, which for window cleaning franchisees, but we don't provide you a full ladder, simply because anything above 2 meters you need working at heights. And it's very common. It's one of the most common injuries within the gyms group, falling off ladders. And that doesn't apply for just for us, obviously other divisions such as antennas or roofing or gutter cleaning, where divisions use ladders. It's a very, very common high risk, we call it high risk services. And that's why we don't actually get a ladder in your normal cleaning franchise and car detailing franchise, or the ones that we get will be pretty much just windows, and you'll need working at heights training. That's all for safety for today, but as I mentioned earlier, if there's any questions, please make sure you download the WHS manual. We'll be providing these with the kits as well. It's good to have a hard copy as well as a digital copy. All your safe work method statements, MSDSs, will be on there as well. But as I mentioned, it's important, communication is important with your clients as well as your employees. You should have toolbox, what we call toolbox meetings before each job, before each morning. Talk about safety and just keep, it could sound repetitive in some cases, but the more you talk about it, obviously the better it is, especially with your employees. Thank you.